Hello, my name is Richard Capone, and I'm going to be giving you a brief demonstration of Atom. Let's start off by looking at a few slides. If we look at the standards model of assessment, we realize that it really looks at these broad general areas of mathematics, and then it really tells you whether students are above, at, or below. Atom is not a standards model of assessment. It aligns the standards, but it actually follows a diagnostic model. Now, in a diagnostic model, you break mathematics into about 44 subtests, and within each of these, you actually find the instructional point of each student. So you don't just stop after giving a fourth grade math items. You actually go all the way down or all the way up until you find their instructional points. And this is very, very important. You need this granularity if you want to be a true diagnostic assessment. Now, just some quick specs, and then we're going to jump in and I'll show you the product. So ATOM is a criterion reference assessment. It's fully aligned to modern state standards. It covers the full breadth of what is defined in modern standards mathematics: data probability, measurement, algebra, geometry, numbers and operation. It includes critical problem solving items, and because it is a diagnostic, we actually read all text to the student so that we do not confound them for having low reading skills. We want to test just their math ability to find out whether they can do mathematics or not, separate of reading. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the program. So here is a class. So I went ahead, I logged in as a teacher, I went over to Atom. This is my class here. I'm looking at some fourth graders. And if we look at this initially, these are all our summative scores. Now this is not very helpful to a teacher because it's really just telling you, broadly speaking, what their grade level score is. So we see that Clara is at a 3.6 in numbers and operations, which is a little past third grade, middle of third grade. Within geometry, she's at 3.4. Total score is 3.36. Now, what it gets really interesting is when we dive down deeper. So let's go ahead and take a look at numbers and operations. Within numbers and operations, we actually have all these different subtests: numbers, place value, comparing and ordering, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions. So I could go ahead and click on any of these and say, okay, what is subtraction? And we see that it is subtraction of whole numbers, and we see that it's going subtraction from 10, multi-digit subtraction non-regrouping, and subtraction with regrouping. So these are the three skills that are tested. Now if I click here on the magnifying glass, I can actually see my class sorted within the scope and sequence of teaching subtraction of whole numbers. These students have mastered all of subtraction. These students are working on multi-digit without regrouping, and these students are working on multi-digit with regrouping. So these are my flexible groups. And I could do this all day long. I could create a group throughout the year for every day that I'm working on something. Let's take a look at fractions. I click on magnifying glass. Now fractions is a lot more complicated. There's lots of skills involved. So at the very, very lowest level, there's no one. Juan has mastered fractions. The vast majority, these big number of students here, are working on fractions with same denominator. These 4 students are working on representing fractions. We scroll up to the top here. We have a bunch of students who are working on adding fractions with unlike denominators. So again, you see exactly how I need to work with students. There's a lot of really neat extras too, because if I want to isolate these students right here, I could select on those students here. I can actually give them a custom assignment, but that's something else I'll show you later. Now again, I could go through all of the different major strands and organize my class. I can simply click on a column and sort my scores from high to low or low to high. Okay. Now let's take a look at some individual student reports. So if I go ahead and look at Carl, I can look at the summary report. This summary report really is just telling me how is the student doing in each of the subtests. Their bar right here, if we look at multiplications, the green bar on top of the larger bar tells me that Carl is about a low 4th grade, but multiplication of whole numbers goes all the way up through 5th grade. Within fractions, we see that he's very low. He's mastered 1st grade fraction skills and is working at 2nd grade, but we see there's a lot more to go on. So this really gives you a snapshot view of the student. Red is below grade level, or asterisk over here, and green is on grade or above. Let's take a look at the detailed report for Carl. Now this detailed report is pretty interesting Because now what we're looking at is it tells us exactly the skill that Carl is working on. Within numbers, Carl is working on the double arrow right here, rounding. Carl will correctly round numbers. After rounding, he'll be working on rounding from tens, hundreds, and thousands. In terms of place value, Carl is now working on decimal place value. Within fractions, let's take a look at fractions. He's working on representing and comparing fractions with like denominator or numerator. Okay, so we see exactly what he's working on and where he goes next. Adam tests each one of these skills, not just one item, it's actually a set. So this is a very accurate assessment. This report can be used for IEPs, it can be used for tutors, it can be used for flexible grouping, it can be used to send home with the student or sharing with their parent. You will not find any other assessment has this kind of granular data. Now this data can also be rolled up and used for PLC planning. So if you have grade level teachers or fifth graders and they want to find out, what should we focus on from a curricular standpoint, where are their gaps, this data can be rolled up through our data portal. Now a couple other things are really interesting. We also have standards reports. So you can select a specific standard. Another really interesting report is I'm actually going to click on this tab and now we're going to select a standard. So I can select a Common Core standard, I can select a Texas standard, I can select a Pennsylvania standard. This is a fourth grade class, so let me go ahead and grab a fourth grade standard. Let's grab this one here. Now a lot of standards actually cover multiple areas. So this is a addition standard, but we're saying it also uses decimal operations, place value, subtraction, and addition. This is interesting. These students here are foundational. They're not ready to learn the standard because these students are too low in decimal operations. These students are too low in subtraction. This one student is ready to learn the standard, and these students here have already mastered the standard. So again, this is a great tool to say, okay, well, all of these students, let me go ahead and sort them by subtraction or decimal operation. So maybe these students here, I can check this box and maybe give them a custom assignment where maybe they're going to be working on the very basics of decimal operations. Adam is extremely deep. I've just shown you the very, very basics. The other piece about this is once you have all this detailed information and data, it'll actually drive personalized learning. I could drive Khan, which provides free videos. I can also drive Edge, which is our program, which places students into a 60 lesson course that's customized for every student. So whether you want to do personalized prescriptive learning one-on-one with a tutor, whether you want to do flexible grouping, or whether you want to have a fully automated intervention that you could be using in station learning or RTI, Adam is the assessment you want to use. Thank you.